Hello, hello. How are you, beautiful family? Dragonfly, is it just you and me? That's all right. I am going to do the best I can to hang in there today. There is a horrible flu in my house. Fever, chills, aches, all that good stuff. Little man has it. My daughter Kayla has it. I got it. Lee's getting over it. Harley's over it. Michael and Gabrielle haven't got it, as far as I know. My fever has been so bad. I spent 8 hours last night violently convulsing, and it just about did me in. But I missed last Wednesday's show, and I wasn't about to miss this one, so I put a cough drop in, and we're going to get through this. Hi, Sean. Boy, I sure could use a nurse right now, Sean. Just sick as a dog. Fever and just normal flu. Now, if it follows the pattern that Lee and Harley had, it only lasts like maybe around 24 hours. But I'm going to push through. I've been pushing through it. But honey, Sean, you are absolutely right. And that's what I tell Caleb to keep doing with the babies. You know, it's not. Now, Lee's turned into a respiratory infection. He's on an antibiotic, but this is just viral and it'll run its course. But I have drank so much water, and which is the irony of it. When you do that, you don't rest because you're going to the bathroom every 10 minutes, but that's just the way it is. Caffeine free, yeah. I won't even do coffee at this point. It's just pure water. I'm just drinking nothing but water. Yeah, my heart was racing so bad last night, just violently shaking from the fever. Okay, so today we're going to do some Atlantean questions. I've got 2 by email. Miss Charlotte, who's the one that sent me that video, she and her husband want to know their jobs. Hi, Joe. How are you doing, honey? Now, this doesn't have to just pertain to what you did for a living if you worked. This could be just maybe your status, like if you were royalty. From what I understand, the good part of Atlantis was they lived in harmony. But there was an outskirts that you still had thieves and murderers, and it was still an issue. They still had judges, stuff like that. So thank you, Sean, as well to you and yours. You're giving me what for? Why? Honey, I could not live with myself if I canceled 2 Wednesdays in a row. I just can't. So I said, I will sit here as long as I can, and we'll get these done. No big deal. Hi, Deborah. How are you, honey? I know. Well, I'm always sick in the head, but you know how that works. All right. So, hi, Renee. Renee's talking to us by phone. Like I said, I don't want you to be shocked if your cards came up that maybe you weren't good in Atlantis, because there were bad guys as well. It's just like, look at our world today. You know, Gaia has good, they have bad. For the most part, humanity is a beautiful thing, but you do have pockets of bad stuff. So if the devil comes up in a negative aspect, it could mean that you weren't so good after all. Now, this is going to pick up only one life cycle through Atlantis now. Atlantis was around for thousands of years, but this is only going to focus on one. Okay? Thank you, Deborah. Um, let's, I do sound awful. I look awful too, but I'm going to push through. It's okay. I'm pushing the vitamin C and the zinc, and I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. Drinking tons of water. I'll be all right. Yeah, well, let's not be hypocritical, Miss Joe. You know how stubborn you and I both are. Shouldn't shock you. Okay. Renee, what do you have to say? Hi, everyone. I'm not sure I was from Atlantis, but you can look. Something funny. I was watching the TV show Green Archers last night. It's about a boy that showed up on a farm, and the two main characters asked where he came from. And he said he was put here on Earth because his planet blew up. Wow. He also said something about Cabbage Patch Kids, and this show is in the 60s. Renee, they've predicted these things for years. Thank you, honey. Um, the Operation Looking Glass, good and bad, have been around for decades. Hi, Dumpling. Cliff therapy. Maybe so, Joe. Maybe so. All right. So, like I said, if you're just coming in, if it shows up that you weren't a good person in Atlantis, they did have evil as well. Don't panic. Now it's just one life cycle. Okay. Not everything was all perfect all the time. All right. Now, I have taken our normal tarot, laid it out, and basically assigned certain Atlantean cards to each card that I will resonate with as it tells your story. So it may not, you're used to seeing a card in one form. Well, today they're Atlantean cards and they'll mean something else. But stick with the same theme. Hi, Elle. You are not wrong, Elle. By the way, happy winter solstice. Today also marks the 10-year anniversary of the Mayan calendar of 2012, on December 21st, when the planet was supposed to be predicted to end. Well, it did. A cycle ended. So they weren't wrong on their calendar. It's just that they were expecting the destruction of all of Gaia, and it didn't happen. It just means that we started in a new path. Okay? Good. Joe, I'm glad your vibes are up, even on the cliff. All right. Green Acres. That's okay. I kind of thought that's what you meant, Renee. Green Acres. Yeah, that's an old good show. Okay. So anyway, anybody coming in that may not understand how we're going to read today, we'll just review it. I've already pulled your oracle cards, and your thingy cards today are basically messages from Spirit regarding our time at Atlantis. They're good cards. There's a warning card, and we'll go over there and talk about that when the time is right. So I want to start with Miss Charlotte, since she's the one that sent me the video, and see what her life was. She also wanted to know about her husband. Now, if you need to go and I don't get to you, just watch your replay, because I'm not going to leave anybody out. How many of you did watch the video? Did you have time to? Oh, Sean, I'm so glad. And is that relationship working out so far? Because we thought there might be a couple hiccups, but it'll be really, really good. Joe, the Atlantis video I put in the chat the other day, and I also put it in the description. It's okay if you didn't get to see it. Go back and watch Monday's show and click on it in the description. Just trying to tell you a little bit, a Palladian message about our jobs if you were of the light during Atlantis. It's about 30 minutes long. Hiss, hiss, growl. It won't last long, Sean. It won't last long. It just takes time. All right. All right. So, Miss Charlotte, let's do yours. Miss Charlotte's job in Atlantis. All right. And of course, you may not remember because of life regression about all possible jobs, but wow. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it was a warning. Not everybody lived a good life. Some of these are kind of sad. All right. Well, Miss Charlotte. Okay. So, your job, you were a slave. I know people are going to be shocked when they find out. There's no way we were supposed to live in harmony. Remember, the outskirts of Atlantis and the rest of the world in the Mediterranean still had bad vibes, okay? So, here's what it is. So, this is a slavery card, and you do have one in reverse. So, this is a slavery card, like breaking your back and working all the time. Who did you work for? The devil. Not that you recognized him, that was your owner, I guess you could say, okay? Now, this is your card that's in reverse, and that's the Six of Swords. Normally, like this, you tried to move and get away, but since it's in reverse, you tried but couldn't. Okay. Yeah. Very, very tired. That's an exhaustion card, taking a knee, just like I'm not doing this anymore. I'm exhausted. Now, interesting. This is a mother card, so you had children. All right. It doesn't say how many because I don't have any pages. Um, but yeah, you worked in a slavery community basically. Other people like you. You were watched all the time. Okay, these are like guards, security. You were just watched constantly to make sure that you didn't run because that's that chariot is movement to make sure that you didn't run away. Wow. Interesting. Apparently you had a female companion that would sneak you like money or supplies, the mystery behind who she was. She was high up in authority because that's the Queen of Pentacles. And also taught you how to manifest things as well. So tried to help you out. Your heart was good and pure. Okay, that's your Ace of Wands. Your intentions were going to stay pure and you were not going to let this break you because you knew that you were sovereign and independent and can manifest things. So even though you had to go through some hell, you knew who you are and you envisioned that you would someday return. You manifested this. This is the impasse and the split of the road. And you chose to take the high road and the road of light to make sure that your soul and spirit stayed intact. So, Miss Charlotte, you were a slave, honey. Hi, Victoria. How are you, honey? Okay. It's too long. What's too long, sweetheart? Oh, the kitty's adjusting. I know. It'll be okay. You just show them that love and light. And and they'll get it. Animals are more keen to getting along than we are, well, most of the time. Okay, let me fix my cards here. They're throwing a fit on me. All right. Now, I'm going to do Charlotte's husband real quick, and then I'm going to get to everybody in the chat. And like Miss Renee said, she's not sure if she was Atlantean. I can almost guarantee you that almost all of us were, just because that vibe in our little family here makes sense. Now, I also want to let you know, if it's not just a particular job that you want to know about, if you want to know if you had a relationship maybe with somebody in here, we can ask that as well. It doesn't have to just be job related. I just put that in there as a title. Okay, I think we're all fixed. Alrighty. Hi, Nadia. Nadia, I didn't have the strength to call you last night, but I sent you spiritual vibe for healing because I was so sick. I was telling everybody that just violent fever and convulsions. All right, so we're gonna do Charlotte's husband. All right. So we're looking at what Charlotte's husband did. And don't be surprised if there's some irony that he may have been the one to guard her. He may have been the one who owned her in slavery, because a lot of times we make soul contracts to come back this time around to get it right. All right, so Charlotte's husband, what was his job? All right. Interesting. Well, wow. Okay, well, Charlotte, your husband was the son of a king, high royalty. Now, here's the tarot card starts off. So that means he was there at the destruction when it fell. Okay. But he was of the light, because the moon card, this is a like a Palladian card. So he was of the light. He was good. All right. So he was the child. He was the son of a king. They're both pentacles. Okay. So he was the son of a king. All right. And his mother was an empress. So he was the son and child of higher ups. Okay. Well, when it was crashing down, all falling apart, he wasn't sure. He was scared. He had a fear of the unknown. No one knew what was going to happen, of course. They had war, but they had earthquakes and tsunamis and all that stuff happened. So he didn't know what was going to happen. All right. He was left alone. There's your hermit. So his parents sent him away to a new life with like security, because there's a Knight of Pentacles, maybe a big brother or security to keep him safe. All right. Yep. He escaped. There's your Three of Wands. So he's like getting the next ship out. Okay. Wow. Grew up to be a very good, passionate man. All right. But always held on to the loss of his parents. Fascinating. So they made sure that he got out, but he lost his parents. Okay. Wow, he's beautiful. King of Wands. So he grew up to be a very passionate leader. And that base card was Ace of Pentacles. So, yeah, he still held on. Maybe he got to keep, like, treasures or, um, you know, some money or something, whatever they found valuable. Okay. Hi, Michael. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to tackle the chat room. I'm going to do Renee since she's on the phone. So I got Charlotte and her husband. I'll do Renee real quick to see if she was Atlantean. And then we'll just go down the list in the chat. All right. So Miss Renee, were you Atlantean? Good or bad? Because there's a possibility of both. I know that if you lived in the 5 main circles of Atlantis, you were higher up, and it was about humanity and getting along, working in the temples and things like that. But there was an outskirts, and a lot of bad things did happen. They still had crime. All right. Yes, Renee is on the phone. Nadia is waving. Renee, I don't know if you can see the chat. All right, Miss Renee. Wow. You were, yeah, you were in Atlantis, but you were a victim. Okay, you were an orphan. You were an orphan, Renee. Hermit, page, meaning had no parents. You had no guidance whatsoever. You relied on charity. That's your humanitarian. So maybe um, an orphanage fed you every once in a while, something like that. Okay. So you had lots of choices of what you wanted to do. So you were just kind of, I don't know what they call it, like a vagabond. You just went around everywhere and did what you wanted to do. Now, you had a great heart and spirit because there's your sword. Grew up to be a strong, strong woman. But you had to go through some hell first because it shows the path that you're going to take. But it says you had to overcome some adversities because apparently at one point, as an orphan, you were sold into slavery. Okay, because that's a prisoner card. But you got out, you escaped. That's a victory card. Okay, you turned your life around with the Wheel of Fortune. Interesting. Okay. All right, from then on out, these 4 is very important. 4 of Pentacles, you held on to everything for dear life. You didn't take life for granted anymore. You held on to what was truly valuable to you. But you took the secrets of what you went through, because that's secrets. You didn't let it really get to you. You rested knowing that the truth would be carried, and you took them to new land. So you got away before Atlantis fell, Renee. So, um, I no, Renee, your husband and kids weren't with you. You were a loner. That absolutely says that you escaped by yourself. Now, whether you met them later or not is different, but your goal or your job or status in Atlantis was alone. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Renee says hello. Lots of hellos, Renee. Okay. So We took care and made sure we did Renee on the phone. I did Charlotte and her husband. That was through an email. So now that's you guys in the chat. So who do we want to start with? It's whatever you want to do. Nadia, that would help if you can create a list. Since we don't have any more on the phone or email as of right now, then. And if this just has to be a part one, and those who couldn't join us today, we can always do those in a part two. It's fine. I don't mind because it's an interesting topic. All right, let me cleanse here. Okay. All righty. All right. I have not done anyone in the chat yet. I took care of the email and phone first. Are we voting for Nadia? What are we voting for? I have to change my chat thing here. I keep forgetting to do that. Well, you and your husband in Atlantis. You want me to do that as one question or two individually? Or you want to know if you knew each other? But however you want me to do it, it's fine. Okay. All right. Michael, you're not dancing today. We're not feeling the good energy. All right. Well, let's see what Spirit does, Nadia, with, let's just ask Spirit if you had a relationship with your husband in Atlantis, or if it'll tell me to divide it. There he is dancing. All right. Wow. Huh. Okay. Well, you and your husband were together. It's interesting. Extremely happy. Palladium, very positive. Okay. So, yeah, a community celebration. So, and I'll just show you Palladium because it wraps up the story. Yeah, Palladium. Ascension, very high ascended, okay? In celebration of, a collective. You were always happy. But your husband, interesting. He's the king of wands and was always at war, but he won the victories that he did. Okay, so very positive. He was a strategist, so like a general. He was a leader, very high up. And when I say war, I use that term very loosely because that just means protector of Atlantis because of the outside trouble that they could have. Bright, beautiful relationship between you and your husband. You had one child. Interesting. You had plenty of wealth and abundance. Doesn't have to be gold or silver or anything like that, but whatever they considered abundance back then, you were rich in it. Okay. Many gifts. Pentacles are gifts from the universe. He was the king of wands. You were the queen of wands. Very passionate people. You believed in what you were doing. Yep. But it was very, very hard on you when he would go off to defend Atlantis, because then you became like a single mother. There's your mother card. Interesting. You tried not to dwell on it. Like, that's leaving stuff in the past and looking at a bright future. And then, of course, it ended with the Palladian. You ascended and went on. So you and your husband were very, very happy. Interesting. Well, your son, I pulled confirmation. This is your son turning the Page of Pentacles. That means that he starts out as the Page of Wands, but he becomes the Page of Pentacles, inheriting what you leave him behind. He was very, very strong, but he knew to set boundaries for himself and how to make that work. So he was a strategist as well. So smart kid. Interesting. So yeah, Nadia, you and hubby knew each other. Hi, Pat. How are you, honey? All right, here we go. Dragonfly, Sean, Joe, Deb, Sugar, Elle, Victoria, Michael. And, of course, we'll add Pat in there as well. Okay, so Nadia sent me a list, and we're just going to go down and do them. Excuse me, guys. Okay. It could be, Nadia. It could be. But, you can't control his path. You just control yours. It's that time of the year, Pat. I mean, if it's related to the holidays, everybody's hustling and bustling. And all right, Dragonfly. Let's do yours, honey. Let's see, good, bad, and different. Let's see what Dragonfly did. You're not hustling. Honey, I'm barely crawling at this point. When I'm done with this show, I'm going to crawl back in bed, I'll tell you that. Wow. Interesting. Dragonfly, you are high up in the ranks of the Palladians. Interesting. But you decided you were there when it fell, but decided to stick around and defend your land and people. All right, let's see what your base card is. Wow, the moon. Yep, that's another Palladian card. All right, so star card, which is high up there with Palladians, okay? Interesting. Your job was a messenger. Okay, so being able to crack data of the universe and let the people know what it meant or what they needed to be doing. So that was good. Okay. Interesting. So you were a king. Okay, you were high up in the authority, meaning, so you were a man, obviously, but here's what made you stand out. You had an equal balance of the divine feminine because that high priestess is intuitive. And we know that that comes from women mainly, but you were really good about downloading information and being intuitive. Wow. You were always bringing messages of how to keep Atlantis victorious and make sure that they stood harmonious, like with humanity, with families to keep them happy. You were basically kind of like a teacher, just a message bearer. You had to balance things out. Temperance is about patience, but you were good about balancing out the negative of what Atlantis was dealing with, but also the positive. And you were there when it fell. Okay. You did not leave. You stood your ground. Okay. Which is beautiful. Wow. Okay. Now here's an Atlantean card too, which is also the world card. And you said this was your world and you were not going to go out without a fight. That's beautiful. Wow. You suffered great loss. Great loss. I mean, there was loss. I mean, certain people were able to escape on ships and things like that. But you stuck it out until the very end and then started your own humanitarian. Like you were there at the very end to go around and gather up people. It's kind of like the lifeboats off Titanic. You went and gathered up survivors and helped them out. So Dragonfly, very high up with Ascension, bringing messages of how to make sure to balance the data of the universes, realms. Beautiful cards. It's okay, Pat. Yeah, she was Cleopatra as well. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, so Dragonfly is definitely high up. When she goes out and does something, she's going to be up there. Yeah, she was a king. She's going to stick it out. You ain't spent a penny on Christmas or anyone else. Well, Joe, you do you, honey. Yep, she was higher up. All right, Sean, let's get to you, sweetheart. They are beautiful cards, Dragonfly. And that's why you're here with us, because you're going to reconnect to all that good stuff. You can help lead again. Oh boy, are you sitting down, Sean? Are you worried? No worries. Let's look into what Sean did. All right. And a lot of times when we live these lives, it can lead us into doing what we're doing now, or we could be doing the complete opposite. We've lived so many different lives. All right. Let's see. Sean, a good guy, bad guy? Was he a victim? Interesting. Okay, one got spit out. Oh boy. It's a weird card to be spit out. Wow, that card is almost in every single one of these readings. Wow. Oh, Sean, honey. Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. I was hoping that it would turn out good. It is good. You were a judge. Okay. Apparently, you helped to take out the bad guys because your first card that got spit out is that you hung a lot of people, apparently. Okay. You were victorious in the decision. This card keeps coming in there. You were victorious in the decisions that you made because it's a wand card. Okay, that means you really thought long and hard about the decisions and sentences that you were going to give out. Okay, temperance again, very patient, balancing right from wrong. Okay, and what should be done with the community. Okay, yep. He's a judge card. That's a King of Wands. And because it's sitting next to the Judgment card, you were a judge. Let me tell you more. Now, it was your job to get people that were bad out of Atlantis. So you left a lot of people out in the cold, but it was for a positive thing because justice needed to be served. So you got a Judgment card, you got the Judge card, you got this. Yep. You delivered the sentences. That's giving a message. So, yeah. Okay. But this tells me that you were a good judge because you have the Sun card. So you were there to balance and make sure that Atlantis had a good balance of law and order, basically. Okay. Yeah. A lot of things had you at an impasse, but you always took the higher road and made sure that you showed light to people and mercy. Yeah. Page of Cups. You knew you wanted to do this as a very young age. So you could have been a very, very young judge as well. Okay. But a cup is also bringing a message. So you knew that you wanted to do this. But yes, we need Judge Sean back. Yep. Well, I guess Sean has a job now. He's going to pass judgment and he's going to send him to Joe. Just saying. All right. Right. Sean, your base card is the Six of Pentacles. That means giving and receiving, giving out sentences, but you were a good, just judge. Okay? Because that could have been a whole lot worse. Nursing judgment could be. But you had to make sure you were good about balancing things. And I know you are today too. So, well, Sean, get your little gavel. You can start with people in D.C. How about that? Guilty, 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 guilty. We don't need trials. Forget that. All right. Joe, you're next, honey. Miss Joe. Save the ropes, use the cliff. There's a poster for you. Yeah, uh-oh. All right. Let's see what Miss Joe did. All righty. Any guesses, Joe? Good, bad, indifferent? All right. I've only pulled 2 cards. I'm going to keep going because I'm going to bust out laughing. Okay. Whew. Oh my gosh. Ooh, okay. Interesting. No, you weren't the jester. Stop that. You were also in the justice field, though. Now, your base card is the Two of Pentacles, finding balance. Okay? Now, all right. Trying to start on a new path, leading to new beginnings and that kind of thing. But this is funny because this card came up because he's heading towards a cliff, and that's why I started laughing, because the next card is the Death card. That seems like an executioner. Oh. I can't make this up. Now, you were good, okay? You weren't just a mass murderer, okay? You were good, sovereign, independent, but you helped make decisions in the justice system about people's fate. You were kind and compassionate to people like the thieves, okay? But yes, you delivered judgment as well. Yep. A lot of people were taken out, feeling left out in the cold as well. Yep. A righteous judge. He's a righteous judge. Okay. But you set boundaries now because there's two kings in a row. This one brings truth. Okay. This one sets boundaries. So you're letting these people know, okay, that's enough. Now you're going to have to own up to your sentence. Okay. Wow. You were also very young when you knew that you wanted to do this. So you manifested it. You went to school because he's a teacher. So you learned what all the elements that you needed to do this. You were also in judgment as well, but always tried to find the beautiful outcome and blessings out of what you did because you helped bring peace to people. Wow. 9 of Wands, though. It was very tiring, very hard on you. Yeah. Lots of disappointment with it. Maybe you had to face some people that you didn't want to see in the court system, but ultimately you were a good judge of heart and desires to make the right decision. You know, Michael, you may be one of the people that got taken out going through the court system. You're either going to face Joe or Sean, but both good judges. So, Joe, that is hilarious. It was a good thing, though. It's a positive thing. Yeah, you found a good balance. And from what I understand, a lot of that had to go on because in order to keep the balance of humanity right, they had to have law and order. So you know that a court system was necessary, multiple of them. So, it wouldn't surprise me. Did Sean and you work together? Let's do a yes and no real quick. And then we're going to do Deb. All right. Did you two work together? I'm just going to do a 3-card pull and then we'll say yes and no. All right. Did you guys work together, Sean and Joe? All right. Okay. Okay. So apparently, no, because you had 2 different court systems, maybe different levels of court. Maybe one was family court, because I think Sean had the family card and Joe had to pass sentence down to like criminals and thieves. So, no, these are no cards. Okay. So the 4 of Swords, very secretive. Now, the truth was always served, but this is surrender. So Sean would have him in his court, and then they would go to Joe's court, okay? Because it's a movement card. The cases would go from one court to the other. Yeah. Didn't have buses. I don't know. Oh, gosh. If it so help me if it comes up Michael was a gigolo. All right. You're a Libra too, so you have balance. Lisa Libra. Yep. Flying bus. Could have been, sweetheart. All right, Deb, you still in here? Hi, Cheryl. I didn't see you, sweetie. All right. All right. So, Deb, what did you do? Everybody's like, brace yourself. Nobody really knows. I think this is shocking to everybody. But remember, like I said in the beginning of the show, Atlantis was around for thousands of years. Now, I know that they lived a lot longer than we do now, but there were still many reincarnations. So this is just one of them. Oh, okay. All right, Deborah. Well, hopefully if you hear what you hear, it doesn't mess up your project. Okay? Don't start throwing things. All right. What was Deb's job or life in Atlantis? All right. Interesting. Okay, so very high up. I'm starting to think he was married to one of these judges. Let's pick one. Let's figure out if it was Joe or Sean. Best friends with. Okay, 10 of Cups, wish and desire. Okay, all right, family, wishes, desire. Okay, so 10 of Cups. Now it's a family. It's a celebration card. Okay, very high up. 9 of Pentacles, very sovereign. She had a special job. She was highly protected. Okay, that's a military card. So she was protected. Wow. Very high up in authority with finances or abundance, because that's Wheel of Fortune. Nothing's changed here. Nothing's flipped. This is just an abundance card. But here's a judge card, okay, or leader. He's a king. But the reason I said judge is I'll show you something. Apparently he was always working. So you were always out doing your own thing, because that's the Fool card, meaning going out and just doing your thing. You always had to have faith that he was going to be okay, because I'm sure that they were threatened a lot as well. Here's another judge card, okay? There's the King of Wands. He's a judge card. It sits next to the Judgment. So you were married to a judge. This brought you a lot of sleepless nights. You always worried about the safety and security, because you wanted to make sure that in the community, this is a community celebration, you were okay. You were highly protected, and so were your children. So there's a Palladian card. There's your star card. So very high up. All right, which one of you had the Page of Cups? I don't remember. Okay, so Queen of Wands, a woman of passion and desire. I mean, she loved her life. It was beautiful. You're betrothed. Okay, so Page of Cups. I'm trying to figure out Page of Cups. You were betrothed as a child, but one of you guys had the Page of Cups. I don't remember which one it was. Yeah, to lead the world, because that's a world card, to be leaders. It's also Palladian as well. So you were married to one of these judges. You picked Joe? Okay. Joe's putting her foot down, Nadia. Don't let me down. Oh my gosh. You guys are so funny. All right. Well, so the wife of a judge. You had lots of sleepless nights, but you and your children were taken care of and you were okay. Okay. Maybe that's why you guys feel connected today. Interesting. You are welcome, honey. Let me slap another cough drop. All right. Let's see who's next. Dumpling's next. Dumpling, you still in here, honey? All right. Well, Joe's passing judgment already. All right, Dumpling. Let's see what Sugar's is. It's interesting to see. Okay, there you are. If they do crossover storylines, because it explains why we have a connection with each other today. So if you get very similar cards, it's either you had the same life or you were, you could have been married, you could have been a child of one of us. Lots of different options. Oh boy. Now, not even. This was way before they had adopted the Constitution, so we're not quite sure that you still have those same rights. Fourth Amendment may have not existed back then. Oh boy. All right, let's do dumplings. You guys are so funny. All right. What is Sugar's story? Oh, bless your heart. Oh. Oh. Dumpling. Well, you're definitely Palladian. But, or worked with the Palladians, because I don't get that the Palladians were this. I don't get. Okay, your base card's the world card. Worldly position. It's Palladian as well. Okay, thank you. All right, so not used as Palladian, but as an illusion card this time around. Now, Dumpling, sweetheart. Your husband. Shame on him. I'm curious to know who passed that judgment. All right. So you were always losing sleep. Like you were depressed and down and worried, and you tried to find balance in your life, but you were just absolutely exhausted and worried because apparently your husband was always gone. Okay, because that's a military security. So, and whether it's an army or personal guard of maybe the higher ups or something like that. Okay. And when he did come home, you celebrated. But here's some information that you celebrated a little too fast. Okay, because it moved in a totally different direction. Your hubby turned out to be a bad guy. He was a thief. You were highly disappointed, and it broke your heart. He was put to death, ordered by a judge, but you stayed strong, even though you knew that you were living a facade and an illusion. Dumpling, honey. All right. So, with the secrets of what your husband did, you were ostracized and left out in the cold. But you kept a bright sunny attitude about it, basically. Well, okay. You guys are so funny. All right, Dumpling. So you were married to somebody in like in a security role or a military role, but it turned out that he was dirty and he was a thief. Yeah. We're so sorry. They love on sugar. Renee just texted. She said, maybe we hung out. You never know. Interesting. All right. Elle, you're next. You watching with Juice today? Or you by yourself? All right. We got Elle, then we got Victoria, then Michael, then Pat, I believe. Okay. He always went for Bad Boys. Uh-oh. Was George, well, okay. Nadia, now you're going to have to sing George Thorogood. Do a little bad to the bone. All right. All right, Elle. Let's see what you did or didn't do. Yep. Sugar, are you saying that you didn't learn your lesson this time around? Did you find a bad boy this time too? Literally. All right, Elle. Alrighty. Bless your heart. Well, good grief, Elle. You left Atlantis early. Are you just fed up? What's your base card? Oh, well, 9 of Wands. Yeah, you were fed up and tired. Okay. You're tired of being the way you were treated by him. Okay, so being left out in the cold. You always had a fear of the unknown. What was going to happen to me? I don't know. You knew that you needed a new beginning and leave the past behind you. Right. You stayed optimistic about keeping a bright future. What do I need to do? So our little baby page of wands here, you took it one step at a time. So you did it slow over time. But honey, you got the hell out of Dodge. You got the one ship just said, I'm done with this place. And apparently, these two cards are sitting side by side. You left with a bunch of other people because these are two community cards. A collective of you guys left. Interesting, because you knew something destructive was coming because you used, you knew the secrets of Atlantis, but you used your intuition to predict something was going to happen. Interesting. Yep. You and your bestie knew that to balance everything out, there's another ship. You got to get out. Yeah. And you took your children with you. So, hell, you got the hell out of Dodge before it crashed because you knew what was going to happen. Wow. I'm wondering if did you flee to Egypt? Okay. Judgment. Move, move, move. I'm out of here. It's just a movement being called away somewhere else. I'm standing my ground and I'm done. I think you fled to Egypt. And it's also a movement card. So, L. Oh, Juice is working. Will you tell him I said hi? So, L, good thinking on your part with your intuition and getting out of there. You knew something was up. Left like on a spaceship. It could have been Renee. I mean, the ships are representative. They had all kinds of travel. They had boats. They had ships, meaning spaceships. They had all kinds of different things. We don't know particularly which kind. All we know is that she was on something and she left. So, Elle outsmarted all of us. All right, Victoria, you're next, honey. All right. Miss Victoria. No, I'm not saging before I do this either. She was on crack. Who was on crack? Elle or Victoria? Oh, gosh. This is what happens when I miss the chat. Who was your lover when you were a judge? Well, we can do that. Let's get these done. Elle was on crack. Could have been. Yeah. Elle just said, eat my dust. I'm out of here. No, we're not. I knew you were going to say that. That's why we're not saging. Okay. All right. All right, Joe, remind me, and we'll look into a partnership or a lover, husband, wife during that time. But let's do Victoria's. Then we're going to do Michael, and we'll do Pat, and then we'll do extra questions if you want to add to it. All right, Miss Victoria. Well, you are a messenger for the higher ups. Uh-oh. What happened to you? Okay. Well, here we go. All right, Victoria, you ready? All right, here's the hermit. You worked alone, but he's also somebody that brings messages, okay? So maybe he was like a courier, like he ran back and forth to give messages to the higher ups of court, okay? Because there's your Palladian card. Yep, you worked for a higher up king. All right, yep. 4 of Cups. Just bringing messages back and forth. So you were a courier. You were the mailman. Okay. Interesting. You brought the secrets back and forth. Remember, swords are words. So, secretive courier. Ooh. Always on the go. Movement. Always moving very quickly. Yep. Bringing messages. There's your Knight of Cups. Bringing messages. Delivering messages. Now, this tells an interesting story. So, apparently, on one, you were very dedicated to your job, and they appreciated you very much because you did hold all those secrets. But on one of your missions, okay, when you were out traveling, it's movement, okay, apparently you may have been transporting something very important. It could be anything of what they call abundance. It could be the crystals. It could be silver and gold, any precious metals, gemstones. But you were taking this somewhere for the king, but you lost it all due to a thief. And I went, the cards can't stop there. What happened? flipped your world upside down because that's the Wheel of Fortune and you lost it all and that belonged to the king. But you had a beautiful outcome and they loved you so much. I guess you were forgiven because that's beautiful. A sun card. Yeah. But you were paid well because of what you went through. Because I guess you put up a fight. So you were so loyal, they recognized that. Yep. Queen of Pentacles. The queen recognized what you were risking and you were rewarded. Okay. And the collective, the community knew what you did. And your final card. Justice was served to the person that did it. So they caught the guy. And then they were sent to Joe and Sean. There you go. There you go. Yeah, well, Sean, you got the sun too. So, yeah, Nadia, well, whatever that term means, courier just means all kinds of stuff. So, we still had outside the skirts of Atlantis, they didn't have that or weren't allowed to have it. So, they still had to have snail mail at some point. They beat it out of him. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, now inside the center ring of Atlantis is all these high technological and the temples that sat in there. And you had the ability to go in and do the telepathic stuff. You could do that inside certain areas. You couldn't do that outside of Atlantis. But that's a good card. Okay. Michael, you ready for yours? You were a runner for sure and still loyal. Well, there you go. Yep, it was a happy ending. All right, Michael. Let's see. What did you do? All right. Why does this not surprise me? Oh my goodness. That's the big Atlantean card. Who guessed that Michael was like a treasurer? Wow. Okay. So apparently you brought new change in technology for their abundance and what they were trying to save, whether it's silver and gold and precious metal, those kind of things. You brought new technology and a new way to do it. Okay, because it starts out with the death card, but it just means slow to change. You changed something. Well, Nadia, you are not wrong. Okay, so bring change to the world. You developed a new technology or something. Maybe you created quantum. Oh my gosh, the quantum card is in here. Look at this. On how to store up your abundance. That Seven of Pentacles. To store it up and wait and see what happens with it. Interesting. You were responsible for the treasury for humanitarian. That's the humanitarian card. Of the Atlanteans helping the poor and the children. That is beautiful. So, you were also sovereign and independent, and this is making your own manifestation of money. You did this. You changed, this is a Wheel of Fortune, you changed the whole system. Now, the reason I said that you created quantum, now, you did this for the higher ups, okay? These are queens, okay? So, higher up feminine energy, there you go, Michael. So, storing up the divine feminine's wealth. Here's the thing, here's the quantum card, and here's the Atlantis card. You created quantum. Holy crap. To make people's wishes come true. You were very strong about how you did it. Wow. It was to bring a new beginning and a new path. Forget the old ways and go to a different way of doing things. Yep. You knew this at a very young age. You were gifted this. This was you, the Page of Cups, to deliver a new way, a new message. You knew this when you were a small child. All right, Two of Wands, that new path, and it was of the divine light. So you knew ahead of time that there was a better way of doing it so you guys wouldn't have to deal with the thieves anymore. So, Michael, working with women and money, who'd have thunk it? Michael, you have every right to dance. Absolutely. Because the quantum card is right beside the Atlantean card. Well, holy crap. Isn't that cool? Cha-ching! Yep. You were right, Joe. Absolutely. All right. So I think we've got Pat left. Let's see. Cheryl. Pat, Cheryl. Okay. And then I see your question. All right. So, Pat, let's do yours. Yeah, those are the best cards. Wow. Wow. That is really cool. All right, Miss Pat. What do you think your cards will say? He's still dancing. Well, at least the cards were good about making the changes for the divine feminine. Because if it would have been negatively aspected with the women, then Naughty would have to start singing. I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but you know, hey. All right. All right, Pat. You're up for anything? Well, you better brace yourself because you may be sorry for what you say. All right, let's see. We'll take it because we cut those ties. Oh my goodness. Y'all having a party now. Oh, Pat. Oh, Pat. Why? All right. Sean and Joe gonna have to take care of Pat. She's not a good girl. All right, the whole Atlantean world. There's your world card. You were a higher up. We're working with the devil. What in the world is wrong with you? Wow. You kept all the secrets. You stored all the secrets. Mm-hmm. Wow. You're a head honcho. That's the Ace of Wands. You're a head honcho in like a covenant. Bad. So part of the cabal, basically. Mm-hmm. You headed up with the littles and not in a good way. You chose the wrong path. That's your impasse card, and you didn't choose the light. That one is resignated in the darkness. Wow. But you lost in the end, because this is interesting. It shows the loss. So you lost. Ha ha ha. Here's the Fool card. Yeah, because you were too, um, basically, you were bragging, narcissistic, and you were just like, no, 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 no. Well, you tried to fool the people of who they thought you were. There's your sign, Joe. She deserves to be pushed off the cliff. You fooled the people, letting them think that you were good, but you really, really weren't. But you did lose. Yeah. Ace of Swords, because the truth came out. Yeah. Interesting. Community celebration. Took a lot of work. So apparently you were hunted down. I'm getting that you tried to run and it didn't work. Wow. So it took time, one step at a time. You tried to run. You did. This is try to run, move away. But security, military caught you. We know that, Pat. We're just giving you a hard time. Yeah, that's all right. You're here now because you are fixing and cutting cords, and you're the good guy now. Yeah, your base card is a baby page. You had a lot of pages in here, so yeah, a lot of that yucky stuff. Yeah, that's all right, Pat. We still love you, and you're all good now. Oh, you judge Jesus. Well, ooh, who else we got? Okay, so Cheryl. Yeah, she's good now. She's part of our family. All right, Cheryl. I think this is the last one, and then we'll pull a couple random cards. Joe wants to know if she's married, had a husband or wife or lover or something like that. And then Nadia asked, are our lives living the same way as back then? Interesting question. Maybe some of us. All right. So, and then we're going to do a little exercise before I let you go. I'm probably not going to stay the whole 2 hours because I need to go lay down. I have to babysit children this evening. That'll be fun. They wear me out. And I got a sick one in there. All right, so we're doing Cheryl. And then we'll do our random questions. All right. Miss Cheryl, what were you up to? Like I said, guys, whoever couldn't make it today, we can do a part 2 of another show. Or any show. And if the questions at random get thrown in there to another show, then that's what we'll do. Interesting. Interesting. Cheryl, you were the leader of I have to use common terms that we have now to get you to understand it because I don't know what terminology they used back then. She was a head general for the leaders for the army. Now, whether that's on the physical seas and water or ships in the air, but she was a big dog general. Wow. Okay. All right. So, working for the king, working for, of course, the good guys. But you got your orders from him. All right. Always on the move. That's judgment. So it doesn't have anything to do with serving. Well, it does serving justice. Military does serve justice. But always on the move. Good military. The strongest of military. You were the strategy person, which are normally your generals, your intel people. Very, very victorious. Okay. These are beautiful cards. All right. So always on the move. So whether this is a ship on the seas or a ship in the air, but that just means moving around all the time. Always, your fleet is always out there. Okay. Wow. Ace of Pentacles. Very strong in abundance. You had everything you needed. So it's probably one reason why you were really strong. But yes, very high up in the palladium or the star system, meaning they're the high up Atlanteans, basically. You worked all the time. You had a lot of burden on your shoulders. I can imagine. Yeah. Always on the move. It's a movement card. It's another ship. So always making sure that Atlantis stayed away from trouble. All right, moving away from troubled waters. So keeping the bad guys away, working with the collective, protecting the collective. Very nice. Apparently you worked with a counterpart that was, you were a guy, but you worked with a counterpart that was, so here's a contract. And it's a beautiful contract because you're Ace of Wands with the Empress. So you had an equal counterpart that was the Divine Feminine. That's why you guys were so strong. So, Cheryl, you go, girlfriend. Very strong. High. We had a lot of military today. She is the big daddy. Yep. And apparently she worked with Big Mama. Can you imagine if that was the name of their fleet? Big Daddy and Big Mama fleet. Yeah. Cheryl, I don't know if the military resonates with you or if it ever has, or, you know, a lot of military cards, but big, high up. All right, Joe, let's go see if we can find you a lover. We were strong. Now, some of us didn't have like real pretty cards, but that's okay. I think most of us made the right decisions of heading towards the light and didn't let it get to you. You're not good with authority. Well, there you go. Way back when. Joe, let's see. Did you have a partner as a judge? Let's see if they were male or female. Let's see. We'll just look and see if we get the Lover's card, contract cards, and if they're Divine Feminine or Masculine, that'll tell us. So did Joe have a partner in Atlantis? Interesting. You did. Oh. What in the world? You had a family. You had a wife. Had. Okay. Because you worked the job that you did. Remember when you were doing the judge questions, we always had to find balance because you worked all the time. Remember those? Always finding balance between your job and your family. So, yes. Wow. No, they were taken out by a higher authority while you were gone. All right. So you were told something, they were taken out while they were sleeping. Some secrets were going on. Now, here's a trickster. They tricked you. Maybe you had to get called to work and they took your family. Yeah. An order by the military, or they're the ones that carried it out. Wow. Yeah. Here's another illusion. They tricked you. Yeah. During their sleep. It came from orders from higher up. They tricked you because that's the King of Pentacles, which is sad because the King of Pentacles is a family man of integrity, and apparently this one wasn't because he had no boundaries. But he wanted your wife, the mother of your children, for himself. Apparently she wasn't going for it. Wow. Okay. Three of Pentacles. Yeah, she was high up in the community. I mean, she was loved and adored. Of course, this brought absolute with what happened to them. Absolute, that's devastation and disappointment and being disheartened. Yeah, you eventually just had to move on from it. Guys, leave it in the past and start over again. Dirty, rotten scoundrels. There's some people you can throw off the cliff, Joe. Yeah. So you did. You had a beautiful family, but they tricked you because you had two tricky cards in there. Apparently, a king wanted your wife for himself. And she said, I don't think so. I love Joe. Yeah, what a creep. Exactly. All right. So Nadia had a question. We'll do this one, and then we're going to do our quick little project that Nadia thought would be a good idea. It won't take but a minute. It's kind of like our gratitude thing. All right. Yeah, it is clip time, Joe. All right. So she said, are our lives living the same way as back then? Of course, not all of us, but let's see if it'll give us the majority. Because I know that we're here to learn in all of our carnations. So are we repeating a lot of the same things? So you may not be a judge or something like that, but we'll look and see if we're repeating. Some of them were dead on. We're repeating. I thought not yours was, Nadia. All right. But that means that we're learning from what we did wrong the first time, and we're here to get it right. Interesting. This makes sense. Total. Yep. Absolutely, Nadia. Okay. Makes sense. We lost our focus. Okay. So it has some advice as well. Absolutely. We, the collective, because we're asking about all of us, yes, have to strategize our life this time, being very careful of the decisions we need to make in this soul contract, okay, in this lifetime. It takes a lot of work and manifestation, okay, but we will have great abundance and reward as a collective and community. Learning from Atlantis, there's your Atlantean card, that it's about humanitarian. Okay. Choose the right path. Remember, our oracle card said not too long ago, the impasse. All right. Always follow the truth, even if it's the small stuff and you can't handle it because there's drippy drop. But never lose sleep over it. Okay. So, can we do Dan? Yeah, we can. Okay. All right. Let's do Dan, and then I'm going to, Nadia, let's go ahead and start the process of what we're going to do in the chat. Before we leave here, and yes, I will do your oracles after I do Dan. I want you guys to, you know how we normally do, what are you grateful for? This time of year and just the energy, I want you to write a quick message, what the chat room will allow, to a loved one that has passed. Do you have a message of love? Now, we don't want to bring the frequency down, so let's use love and forgiveness and that kind of stuff. All right. So, and if Nadia, if you got a better way to explain that, please put it in the chat. But if you've got a loved one that's passed on and you want to give them a message, you write it, I'll read it, and let's keep the frequency up. So if it's somebody you didn't get along with, we're not helping by saying you were nasty and ugly and I didn't like you. We want to say I love you and I forgive you. Now, if you haven't been able to do that, maybe you don't want to write anything. Okay. So, Nadia, let's do Dan real quick. Yeah. So she says, before we leave, grateful for a loved one that has passed. The name of someone who made you smile. There will be a connection. All right. So this is Dan's reading. What is Dan's reading? Atlantis. Wow. Well, that's interesting. Well, he was a guard. He did security. Interesting. I guess he was meant to do this as a very young child, protecting the higher-ups' children as well. All right. All right. So, okay, the world card in this is the center of Atlantis. So that's what we're looking at. So he worked for the higher-ups as military or security, okay, for Atlantis. Standing up, standing guard, standing up for them, okay, and their children. He was a guard for them, but he also knew that he was going to do this from a very young age. Maybe he was destined to do it. Okay, he did spend a lot of time by himself doing this job. Well, it made family worry. Lots of sleepless nights over this. Yeah. Wow. So 2 cards back to back. He carried a lot of secrets. That's why it was a worrisome thing. So secrets and secrets. And here's who he carried secrets for. Here, I'm going to hold them all up at the same time. The high, divine, feminine. All the or 3 of the queens. Interesting. That's your base card. The Chariot. Sorry, Nadia. That's an Egyptian card. Eventually moving to Egypt. Okay. I just ruined Nadia's day. All right. Okay, guys. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to read your true, Nadia. All right. Let's do your oracles real quick, and then I'm going to read your comments. Okay. All right. Now, when I did these, I did it based on pulling the energy from the Atlantean times. So this is what Spirit wants you to know for us as a collective about the times of Atlantis. One of my grandchildren have got my cards all sticky. Ew. All right. All right. Okay. So, our advice from Spirit when it comes to knowing Atlantis, please always believe in the miracles, the positive light of what came out of Atlantis, and that it's going to return. Do not look at yourself like a victim, okay? Do not do that. But another way to avoid the situation of Atlantis, now I'm not talking about earthquakes from Gaia, that's not what I'm talking about, is don't get complacent. People let their guard down and they stop paying attention. We do know that's a little bit of the history. So do not get complacent. Don't play the victimhood of your past life. Just move on from it. Cut those cords, okay? And look at the miracles that came out of Atlantis and what we're going to do again. Wow. Your base card for Oracle is enlightenment. You're going to learn a lot as you go on, okay? As you ascend, you'll be totally enlightened with what you find out, okay? All right. You're welcome, Dan. I'm so sorry if it doesn't resonate. I mean, it's, we just don't know. Some of us were good, some of us were bad. All right. So, all right. Let's do where does it start? I don't want to miss it. Dan's your brother-in-law. Hello, Dan, and welcome. Yeah, he was from Atlantis. Okay. All right, so here we go. Here's messages to loved ones. Joe says, I love when you visit me, Dad. All right. Yeah, I want you all to focus on them as I read these. Nadia says she sends a message to her best friend, Michelle. Still see your beautiful smile. Pat says, Mom and Dad, thank you for the great life, love, and support you provided to us. We think of you often and laugh when remembering the fun times. We miss and love you both. Beautiful. Nadia says, to my wonderful father-in-law, always taught me things. All right. Elle says, to my mom and my aunt, thank you for all you have done for me and continue to do. I cherish you both of your wedding rings and wear them in your honor. Oh, how precious. Victoria says, my beautiful sister Kathy, and 2 days later, your best friend, Joanne. I love you both with all my heart forever. Wow, honey. Joe says, to my Billy Birch, the quietest person with the most beautiful smile and hugs. That's amazing. Okay. You are correct, Nan. It's the path chosen for us. Lessons must be learned on both sides of the aisle. You are correct, sweetheart. What about me? I'll do that a different day. My energy is getting really low. I want to make sure it's clear. Maybe we'll do that at the top of Friday's show. Deborah says, I love you, Mama, Poppy, Mom and Dad, for all you taught me and the tremendous love you gave. Beautiful. Michael Says, to my beautiful soul in heaven, Danny, my nephew. Gorgeous. All right. Is that everybody? I don't want to leave anybody out. I don't think I missed anybody at all. Mine, past loved ones, my mom, we didn't have a very good relationship here, but we did towards the end, and I absolutely love and miss her and her sarcasm, not because that's where I got it. And absolutely my grandparents, both sets of my grandparents. So Gran and Pap and Nanny and Gampy and all of them, I love them and I miss them. And if there's ever somebody you wanted to take 15 minutes and sit them down on a park bench to have them back just to ask them some questions, it would definitely be my maternal grandfather. Yeah. 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 Okay, we're going to wrap it up. We've gone a little more, about an hour and 45 minutes. I think it was a good show. We'll absolutely touch base on this again. We can do round 2 for anybody that missed it this round. And maybe if you had a second life at Atlantis and we want to pull another one, we absolutely can. The plan is, okay, Nadia says to her grandmother in Brazil, didn't talk much but showed so much love. Yeah. Victoria, you're not an orphan, sweetheart. You're never an orphan when you have your heavenly mother and your heavenly father. That's the way I've learned to look at it. And look at all the brothers and sisters that you have around you. Okay? But anyway, Friday night, 7 p.m., that one's going to be played by ear just because Lee's schedule is crazy. They had another person quit. They're down to like 2 mechanics now, and it's getting a little hairy where he works. I don't know what his schedule's going to be, but if I postpone it till the following Monday after Christmas, then that's what we'll do. It's okay. Yeah, aren't we dysfunctional family? But anyway, just watch for the updates on Friday, and if I put up a thumbnail or if it says we'll postpone, then you'll get the message either way. And we'll do some global recap if we do it. Michael's going to dance us out of here, and Nadia's going to sing us a song. I'm going to wave and send love and light and some shh and say I love you all. It was a good show, and we'll do it again. All right. I love y'all, and I will talk to you soon. Have a very blessed day. I love all of you. I am going to go rest. Yeah. I'm getting swimmy headed. Yep. I will. Taking all the vitamins, doing all that good stuff. Lots of water. But I love y'all. Thanks for joining me. And welcome, Dan. Yeah, I am. All right. Love y'all. Be blessed.